Yesterday there was a major storm, so right now I'm standing in a foot of snow and my socks are slightly wet, and yet I actually feel pretty happy right now. Not because of the wet socks, but just genuinely like my life just feels so amazing right now. Like I feel like I have so much purpose. And it wasn't like this not that long ago. Not that, my life was that bad before, but this just takes it to a whole new level. And I just want to share that feeling right now. I want to capture that the way that I'm feeling right now. It just feels so phenomenal. And I want this for everybody. Anybody who's watching this, just know that it is possible for you. Because I focused so much in the past few months on improving my mental health. And it's now at the point I can honestly say is far better than it's ever been, right? Like I literally feel like a kid again, Like that's how much enjoyment I'm having out of life. And it's crazy because like the closest that I ever got to was back in 2018. That was like the happiest point that I can subjectively remember, that I felt so happy. I felt so alive. Like I felt like I had purpose. But there's ups and downs in life. And then after that point, I kind of went through these cycles where each year I didn't feel like I was really making much progress, even though I was, in the world standards, I was, right? I was making money and making progress in that sense, but I didn't feel fulfilled by it. I don't talk about this much, but I was so focused on building a life, like a freelance illustration business. That's what I was working on. And I did it. I grew it. I started building it up on Instagram and I got a number of clients and I was making money every single month. Not only that, but then I learned how to sell passively. So I was making thousands of dollars per month without even doing anything. I set up a system in place. And that fulfilled me for a few months. But then after not pursuing it in the same way that it was when I first was building it up, I felt like I lost my purpose. I lost my drive. And because of that, I felt lost. I continued doing the routine. I kept doing, building that business, but it just felt like, what's the point? Like, what am I really doing here? I didn't feel like I was really helping the world. The stuff that I was drawing wasn't fulfilling for me. Drawing was always something that I really enjoyed. Then I started making money from it, and it no longer was about the drawing at all. It was about making money. And I think that those two things can coincide, but for me, I just knew that wasn't my true purpose. That wasn't what I really wanted. And so I came to this harsh conclusion that I was like, this is not what I want to continue doing. Will I ever go back? I don't know, right? I may. But I knew right now that this was not what I wanted to do, and I needed to stop. And it took me a long time to get to that point. But the moment that I finally stopped and said, okay, this isn't what I want to do. What do I want to do? And the answer was clear. I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I wanted to share a message of self-improvement. I wanted to help people overcome their mental health problems. I want to help them become more positive and enjoy their life. This is what I've always loved to do. I always help people in real life. And I'm like, imagine if I could spread that message even further. That would feel fulfilling. And so I knew this is the path that I wanted to take. But you know what happened? I didn't start. It was back in October. That was when I stopped doing the illustration business. I was like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I said, this is what I want to do. And I didn't start. It's like I got to this point where I was stuck. There was this period in my life from October basically to January, where I was just idle and I didn't know what I was doing. But I realize now that that was just getting me ready for this point. It was like it propelled me forward. I needed that in preparation. It looked from the outside like you're procrastinating. And maybe in some cases I was. But there was a lot that I learned during that time. And now I know why I feel so good now. It's because I set in place the system that has made me happy. I now understand why my mental health was so good back in 2018. And now I know how to make sure that I never let it get back to that low point again. I don't ever want to get back to that point, and I definitely don't want that for anybody else. If you're in that low point, man, I understand where you're at, and I know how to get out now. And that's why I'm building out this program. This is something that I'm so passionate about. Every single morning, I work on this. This is part of my deep work task. In fact, this is what I started my channel with, because it was just a journal entry to myself. That first video, if you watched it, was literally me talking to myself. I decided to upload it. It wasn't intended on being uploaded, but I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. So I did. And that first video, I'm literally talking about how excited I was, how passionate I was, how happy I was. And I'm feeling it again right now, you know? Like it comes in waves, right? It's not like your entire happiness level is always just at a maximum, but my overall well-being is just so incredible. And I want to share that enthusiasm with you. And I want to show you how I did it. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's a program. It's going to include everything that I know, all the experiences that I had, and tie it into this one package that I'm going to share with you. And I'm so excited to share it because every single morning when I work on it, it's the one thing that I love to do. And I worked for an extra 2 hours this morning. So I normally work a total of 6 hours in the morning. I woke up, not meaning to, but I woke up half an hour early and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna get up and start working because it was already in my mind. I was already just thinking about it. And I'm like, this is what I wanna do. So I got up and started working. And I couldn't even get myself to stop. I just wanted to keep going. So I worked another hour and a half. So I totaled an extra 2 hours. So instead of 6, I was at 8. And it didn't even feel like work. It was like time just flew by. I felt so excited about it. Oh man, this topic is just something that I'm so passionate about. And I just want to share that with you. I really want to help people. I want to show them that you don't need to be stuck. You don't need to live the way that you're living. You don't need to be sad. You don't need to be depressed. There's only one reason why you're depressed. There's only one reason why your mental health is suffering. It's because you're not doing the right things that will get you the results you want. You're falling into the trap that society has told you. They've told you that you should just fall into this trap of instant gratification, that's the problem. I mean, that's the promise, but it's actually the problem. Instant gratification will never fulfill you. Things like video games, weed, junk food, porn, all these things will never satisfy you. Never. You'll never feel fulfilled by these things. You're only digging yourself deeper and deeper into a hole. And that's the first step. You need to become aware. You need to become aware of what's actually happening. The reason you're not fulfilled is because these things can't fulfill you. You're trying to fill a void within you, this emptiness, with things outside of yourself. Happiness comes from within. You choose. Now, if this sounds like crazy to you, I understand. Like if I had heard this before, I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm telling you, if you could just see it, I'm telling you from the other side what it's like. It's incredible. But you need to realize the lie for what it is. These things won't fulfill you. So you need to cut them off. And that's not going to be easy. Because see, these things in your mind are something that you feel are enjoyable, right? It's entertaining. I get it. But you got to ask yourself, why is it that you're not actually happy when you're doing the things that people have told you should make you happy? Why don't you feel happy? Why is it that you can scroll for hours on Instagram and not feel any better after? In fact, you feel worse. Why is it that you could stay up till 3 a.m. playing video games for 5 hours and yet you don't feel fulfilled when you turn off the console, right? You feel worse, and especially when you wake up in the morning, groggy and tired. It's awful, man. I've had so many days like that. I don't wake up like that anymore because I don't do those things. And you know what? As hard as it may be to believe this, but I don't even crave those things at all. Because there's no reason for you to crave those things when the rest of your life is so fulfilling. I know it's hard to believe. I get it. Because right now, you feel that's where your happiness comes from. And so you just keep going for it, waiting for that moment when it'll finally work. When you realize it's a lie, it's an illusion, you stop chasing those things. You slow down and you see life for what it actually is. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Look at where I am right now, right? I always come here. I always come on these walks and it's amazing. I told you at the start of this video, I'm literally standing in a foot of snow, right? My sock is wet and yet there's a smile on my face. How is that possible? I love it, man. I love life right now. And it wasn't always like that. It wasn't like that at all. I had some dark periods in my life, really dark periods. And you know, when I broke out of that back in 2018, I said to myself, I'm like, I figured out the answer and I'll never go back there. I never need to. I have the answer. And I fell back because I stopped doing the very things that helped me to get out. I thought I didn't need them anymore. It was like, say all the good things that I did, like going on these walks, all the good habits, exercising, eating well. I just like forgot about them. And it was like, oh, you know what? You don't need to do those things anymore. You've already improved your mental health. You're fine. So now you can go ahead and go back to those things that they say you'll enjoy. Go back to junk food. Go back to video games. Go back to watching Netflix all night long. Didn't work. I felt just as bad as I did before. And you know, for a long time, that made me feel bad because it was like, not because of those things necessarily, but because I realized, I'm like, you mean I gotta keep up with all those good habits forever? Just to feel happy? That feels like so much work. But that's only because of where I was. I was looking at it from the lens of poor mental health. And so all those things feel like so much work. It feels like so much effort. But once you get out of that, you see it for the truth that it is. That it's enjoyable to do these things. It's enjoyable to make progress towards your goals every day. Life becomes fun. I literally was smiling the whole way over, ready to shoot this video. I saw like chipmunks on the way and I was smiling. I was walking down the hill and like I'm just falling deeper and deeper into the snow. And it just made me think, I'm like, look how happy I am just naturally. I'm not trying to be. It's just naturally coming out of me. And I'm like, that's not how it would have felt before. One, I wouldn't have even come. I wouldn't have went for a walk to begin with. But even if I did manage to do it, it would have felt like, oh man, I'm just like so tired and I want to do this. Now I have energy, now I have passion, and I'm not forcing it. I don't need to use motivation to do it. It's naturally within me. Life is so amazing, man. I just want you to feel the same way. So I'm going to give you one practical thing that you could do immediately, because this is the one thing that I think if you were to start off with, you should absolutely do. It's something that I talk about in my program. But number one, you need to make sure that your sleep schedule is locked in. You need to. And that starts with the morning routine. You need to make sure that your morning, you're getting up every single day at the exact same time. Every single day. That means weekends. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, I gotta do that on weekends too? Choose a time that you can stick with no matter what. Don't try and make it super early. You don't need to do that. You're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You're trying to choose something that you can be consistent with. There's a reason that you should be consistent. When you be consistent, waking up every morning at the same time, it influences your body's circadian rhythm. I'm kind of going off topic here. This video is going everywhere, but I just really want to share this with you because this one thing could change everything for you. If right now you're getting up inconsistently, right? Say 5 days a week, you're getting up to go to work, but then the weekend, you're staying in for 4 hours. You for sure are screwing up your circadian rhythm. And because of that, it's changing out hormones in your body, like cortisol. I don't want to go down this whole rabbit hole, but I just want you to know that if you're not waking up consistently, you're absolutely screwing up this system, and it's naturally going to make you feel worse. You're going to feel groggy. Not to mention everything else that you're doing probably late at night. But the first thing you need to do is get this in order. If you get your morning in order, the rest of your day will follow more smoothly. So that's just one practical tip that I want to give you right now, because there's so much that you can do. But if you just follow this, you start to build up a little bit of momentum. You got to get this handled first. That's step one. And it's something I know you can handle, right? Some things, some good habits feel like way too much right now. You're like, there's no way I could do that. This is something you can do. You know you can. You've done it before. Follow through now. Make sure you get up at the same time every day. Choose a time that's going to work for you and just stick with it. I really hope this video was helpful for you. If you're not already, subscribe to this channel. I want to help young men just like you on their self-improvement journey and start living a better life. Done.